Start this lesson by saying, call Allah Yahweh by Hashem Yahweh Shah, by Hashem Rakakadash. Double honors to the elect of GMS preaching his word in truth and sincerity, and anybody teaching a likewise doctrine. King Jesse, back with another Bible lesson. Name of this lesson to be so-called white people, or the Edomites of the Bible. Before we go into the lesson, Yahweh is who you ignorantly call God. Yahweh Shah is who you ignorantly call Jesus Christ. The Rakakadash is the Holy Spirit, and Bahashem means in the name. So when you call on your power, you call on the name of Yahweh Bahashem Yahweh Shah. We don't call on the name of Jesus Christ. The letter J was invented in 1524. And our Lord and Savior spoke Paleo-Hebrew. He wasn't no goddamn Greek or Roman, so Christ is false. That's a false name. We know they took the real names of the Heavenly Father and His Son out of the Bible. But let us go ahead and get into the Bible. And these guys did it. The guys you see it on the screen. Walk and talk on the way to work. Sorry about the noise in the background, but it is what it is. Hopefully you can hear me. Turn your volume up. Let's do it. Let's prove that the so-called white man is the Edomite that the Bible speaks of. Take a look at the picture. Go ahead and read it. We're going to go ahead and start busting out these precepts. Genesis 36 and 9. And these are the generations of Esau, the father of the Edomites in Mount Seir. Check that out. So Esau is the father of all the Edomites. So all you Edomites spawned from Esau, basically, in Mount Seir. Didn't know so-called white man used to live in caves. Story for another lesson, but go ahead. Exodus 17 and 6. For he said, because the Lord has sworn that the Lord will have war with Amalek from generation to generation. Now, Amalek is the grandson, I believe, of Esau. So Amalek, the Lord said he's going to have war with them from generation to generation. And those would be your so-called Jews that's claiming to be us right now. It's Amalek. Okay, this is a timeline right here. Genesis 36 and 12. And Timnah was concubine to Eliphaz, Esau's son, and she bore to him Ephah, Amalek. And these were the sons of Adar, Esau's wife. Okay. That was just basically proving that Amalek is the grandson of Esau right there. Okay, and we all know how this goes. Job 9 and 24. The earth is given into the hands of the wicked. He covers the faces of the judges thereof. If not, where and who is he? So the earth is going to be given into the hands of the wicked. And who is the wicked? Who's running the world right now? Who shut down the whole goddamn world and forced the world to go into a lockdown over a pandemic? So-called white man. He covers the faces of the judges thereof. If not, where and who is he? He went around the four corners of the earth after he came out of them goddamn caves. He went through the four, and they call that shit, what is iconoclast, the Renaissance period, when they went basically through the whole world, changing the images of the whole world, showing that the prophets were white people. Hold on for a second. Across the street. You waiting for it, boy? You got the fucking light. Now, you a dumb motherfucker. Sitting there looking at me. Bitch, you an Edomite too? Let's get back into it. Job 9 and 24. The earth is given into the hands of the wicked. He covers the faces of the judges thereof. If not, then who is he? So-called white man shut down the whole goddamn earth during this pandemic. And he went through the four corners of the earth during the Renaissance period, chopping noses off statues, pitting his image up as the prophet, as Lord, and as who you ignorantly call Jesus Christ. Because we all know that God, who you ignorantly call Jesus Christ, Yahweh Shah, is black, man. There ain't no doubt about it. Ain't no goddamn Edomites do a damn thing. They're the wicked. Yeah. And when you go to the book of Revelations, feet as if they burn in the furnace. Ain't no fucking white people, man. And who the only person that went around this whole earth setting his image up as God? And Yahweh Shah. It's a so-called white man. Because the earth is giving it to his hands. The book of Maccabees 1:1. And it happened after that Alexander, son of Philip, the Macedonian, Alexander the Great, who came out of the land of Chittim and had smitten King Darius of the Persians and Medes, that he reigned in his stead the first over Greece. Verse number 2, and made many wars and won many strongholds and slew the kings of the earth. This is Alexander the Great they're talking about. Verse number 3. And you can go do your research because his father, Alexander the Great father was King Philip. So go do your research and you'll find out it's talking about Alexander the Great. Verse number 3. And went through to the ends of the earth and took spoils of many nations, insomuch that the earth was quiet before him, whereupon he was exalted and his heart was lifted up. Yeah, Alexander the Great, that's why they call him the Grecian. Alexander, we call him the Alexander the Grecian. Verse number 9. And after his death, they all put crowns upon themselves, so that their sons after them years, and evils were multiplied in the earth, because they're the wicked. So-called white man is the wicked. Move it over to the book of Obadiah. And the whole book of Obadiah is basically about you so-called white people. Go ahead and read it. Just like the book of Habakkuk is prophesying against you as well. And the book of Malachi as well. All these are talking about the so-called white man. These are these are like descriptions of how the so-called wicked is going to act. And these are the so-called white men. Obadiah 1:3. The pride of thine heart hath deceived thee. Thou that dwells in the clefts of the rock. Did they come out of the caves? Whose habitation is high, and said in his heart, who shall bring me down to the ground. So-called Edomites are prideful little fucking bastards. Okay. The book of Deuteronomy, chapter 28 and 68. We're going to keep rolling off precepts, proving that the so-called white man is the biblical Edomites, the devil that the Bible speaks of. There's a whole book of the Bible, if you read it, is about Jacob and Esau. Jacob is you so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native American Indians. Esau is the so-called wicked. And then there's other nations that sprinkle in. Deuteronomy 28 and 68. And the Lord shall bring thee into Egypt again with ships, by the way whereof I spake unto thee. Thou shalt see it no more, and there shall you be sold unto your enemies for bondmen and bondwomen, and no man shall buy you. And buy you goes into redeem you. So we're going to go ahead and break this down. The Lord said, and the Lord shall bring thee into Egypt again. It says again. So this ain't talking about ancient Egypt. And, when you go into the Bible, you type in Egypt. Egypt is synonymous with house of bondage. So we're going to go ahead and run that back. And the Lord shall bring thee into the house of bondage again with ships. This is you so-called black, Hispanics, and Native American Indians. You were sold into your enemies during the transatlantic slave trade and put on ships and brought to America or shipped out from Mexico to, you know how they did it during this transatlantic slave ship. They put us on ships. And thou shalt see it no more. And that's talking about the homeland. We're never going to see Israel no more until the Lord comes back and redeems us. So that's how you know them guys, the 42ers or 1942 with them fake-ass Jews are not the real people of the Bible. And there you should be sold into your enemies for bondmen and bondwomen. During the transatlantic slave trade, we were sold to, these white people for bondmen and bondwomen. So transatlantic slave trade is in the Bible. And the perpetrators of it are in here too. Joel 3:3. And they have cast lots for my people, and have given a boy for an harlot, and sold a girl for wine that they may drink. That's exactly what happened during the transatlantic slave trade. They sold our boys because these Edomites are gay. Our research butt breaking. These Edomites went around the world and they was raping our little young kids and selling our kids during the transatlantic slave trade. Check this out, 2nd Ezra chapter 6, and verse 7. And then answered I and said, what shall be the pardon asunder of time? So these are the prophets talking to Yahweh Shah, you ignorantly call Jesus Christ. So they're asking him, like, basically, what is going to be the end of the world? And when shall be the end of the first and the beginning of it that follows? And this is Yahweh Shah saying, talking. And he sent it to me, Abraham, Isaac, from Abraham unto Isaac, when Jacob and Esau were born again, Jacob handheld the heel of Esau. For Esau is the end of the world, and Jacob is the beginning of it that follows. So Yahweh Shah was basically saying Esau is going to be in rulership at the end of the world, and then Jacob is going to get the kingdom, basically. So who's in control of the world right now? So-called white man. Malachi 1 and 2. I have loved you, said the Lord, yet ye said, wherein hast thou loved us? Was not Esau Jacob's brother, said the Lord Yahweh? Yet I loved Jacob, and I hated Esau, and laid his mountains and his heritage a waste for the dragons of the wilderness. Whereas Edom said, we are impoverished, but we will return and build the desolate places. That's what they're screaming right now, make America great again. Thus said the Lord of hosts, they shall build, but I will throw down, and they shall call them, this is the so-called white people, the border of wickedness, and the people against whom the Lord has indignation forever. All right. And I guess we're going to go ahead and end the lesson right there. We're going to pick up part 2, Genesis 25 and 23, part 2, when I get up out of here in a few hours. We'll get off the slave ship, take the kids to school, all that good stuff. So we'll do part 2 in about a few hours from now. We call Allah Yahweh, by Hashem Yahweh Shah, by Hashem Rakakadash. Double honors to the elected GMS, preaching his word, truth, and sincerity. Barakatah Yahweh, Barakatah Yahweh Shah, Barakatah Yahweh, Barakatah Yahweh Shah. Call Allah Yahweh, by Hashem Yahweh Shah.